All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and around the world on classic1220.ca. If you'd like to send me an email, the email address is xzone@classic1220.ca. X Zone Nation, my guest this hour is Mark Hazelwood, and we're going to be talking to Mark, who is a researcher, author, Disclosure Central, what is happening on QSI, and much more. Joining me now is Mark Hazelwood. Mark, welcome back to the X Zone after all these many years.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Mark, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I guess to start with, a lot of people know me for having written a couple books 27 years ago in regards to Planet X.
Yeah.
Nothing ever panned out with Planet X. So my research wasn't very good, to tell you the truth. But other people know me because I happen to be a son of a famous guy by the name of Lee Hazelwood, who produced a lot of Nancy Sinatra stuff. Boots are made for walking, I guess is his number one claim to fame.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm just, a father, a grandfather, a researcher. And I attracted something very unusual to me with this quantum stellar initiative.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Well, Quantum Stellar Initiative was originally created by an Emily Tang to promote the new stellar blockchain. This is a blockchain that the entire new financial system will be loaded onto. So she was very interested in that. And along the way, she was contacted by the people involved in creating it. I mean, initially it was IBM.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new quadrillion-dollar blockchain they're creating. So, they kind of hid the fact that it was going to be loaded onto the stellar XLM blockchain. So they put out a red herring, a blockchain by the name of XRP. And for a while, I thought it was going to be on XRP blockchain. And I own quite a bit of XRP. But when I read the white paper, I've got a pain in my stomach. I knew it wasn't XRP. So I started poking around, and then things changed completely on Quantum Stellar Initiative after being there about a year and a half.
Now, for our listeners who may not know what a blockchain is, how would you best describe it?
A blockchain is a distributed ledger that's kept together by thousands of computers with what is known as nodes. And this keeps all the multiple ledgers copying each other perfectly. So it's very safe. Once you get something on the blockchain, you can't change it. No one can go in and change it. That's the beauty of a blockchain, I suppose.
So what is the advantage of having these ledgers up on the blockchain?
Well, like I said, the advantage is safety, security. And That is not my expertise, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I really would recommend that you get on Emily Tang, who created the Quantum Stellar Initiative. She's the one that can tell you all the bits and pieces about these blockchains and why Stellar is the one that was chosen by IBM long ago.
Okay, so as far as you see it, how is this new blockchain and all these new Qs going to affect the average person who's not a major corporation, who doesn't have stocks and shares everywhere? How is it going to affect John Q. Public?
Well, it'll make things easier in the long run. All the currency that will be loaded onto the blockchain and the digital assets and the assets, everything should be loaded onto the blockchain, will be backed by commodities. So there won't be any fiat currencies after this thing takes hold.
So is this going to replace, or is this another model like Bitcoin?
Bitcoin was like the first crypto that was put out there. A digital asset is not necessarily a crypto. Bitcoin is very slow and cumbersome, and it could not handle an entire world's worth of finances. So it was kind of a test object thrown out there, and it will eventually be loaded on the Stellar blockchain along with everything else. But it has nothing backing it. So whether it goes to zero or not, I can't tell you.
So is there any possibility, like, I don't think there's a computer system out there that's infallible. I think that every computer can be hacked. Every financial institution has been hacked. So how is this new technology going to protect the currencies that are out there?
Well, when they're loaded on the blockchain, like I said, it goes out to thousands of different computers.
Yes. Okay.
All right. That each one creates a copy. So if you try to go in there and change it, all the thousands of computers already had registered what was put onto it. So you can't change. You might change one computer. It's not going to change the rest. So it won't change the blockchain.
All right.
Also, there's something very unusual about this new quantum stellar financial system. There is something known as, there's a group known as Q. Have you ever heard of Q?
Yes, I have. All
right. Q is behind this new quantum stellar financial system. When Emily started promoting the system, they contacted her, but they didn't let her know right away who they were. But just in November, they outed themselves on purpose. And it turns out Q is a very unusual group. So far, they've let us know that there are 3 galactics that are part of Q. There's a quantum artificial intelligent computer that has been making the predictions that Q has been right on to the money after a year or 2 years or 3 years to the day that's been accurate. This computer has the capability of consciousness. You can download this program, but it's not the kind of program that you'd find on a computer. Anyway, they gave us a gift, an AI that will be right there with everyone's consciousness, reading it whenever they use the blockchain. They can read their intent. So if you have any nefarious desires, it will identify you ahead of time, won't even let you use it, and perhaps send the authorities to wherever you're at. So this is out there. I read the white paper twice to read that within the white paper, and I haven't heard very few people talk about this part of it.
Why do you think that is? Yeah, I'm sorry, Mark.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, why do you think that so many few people have heard about the different applications of this system?
So many. Well, they haven't really started promoting it much yet, but they just started. Within the last month, I've seen, I don't know, 25 articles from corporations all over the world stating that they are going to start using the blockchain for a number of different reasons, because it's very fast and very efficient and very safe. So it hasn't quite got out there yet, but they have a timetable, and they're going to meet their deadlines. Put it that way. Absolutely, will meet them.
So do people actually buy stock in this? Is it on the stock? Is it on the stock exchange?
Okay, the stock exchanges of the world will eventually be loaded on to this quantum stellar initiative blockchain.
Okay, so as I understand,
right now there are ICOs, initial coin offerings, just like IPOs would be for stock, being offered twice a day on Quantum Stellar Initiative. And what they're doing is they're releasing technologies and information and monies that have been held back from us. I mean, Trump was out there saying in the beginning of his administration that they're going to release the 6,000 technologies. Well, you didn't know it was going to be released, but it's being released right here on Quantum Stellar Initiative, such that there's about over $500,000 worth of money being invested in these ICOs per week right now.
That's a lot. But isn't it dangerous?
That's about 3,000 or 4,000 different investors that each put in whatever they can. And here's the unusual thing. This is going to be the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. The war out there against the dark ones has largely been won, whether people really realize it or not. And they've confiscated the wealth of the majority of the corporations out there. I mean, a couple of years ago, you probably heard that a ton of CEOs had been resigning for seemingly no reason.
Right.
Well, a lot of them were involved in nefarious activities. And according to the executive orders Trump put out, their wealth can be confiscated. So there's a ton of wealth that is just waiting to be given back to the people. And at first, they're going to give it back to these investors. But there's also another side to this. There's these ascended masters like Saint Germaine and Archangel Michael that created the first trusts on the planet. And in these trusts, they put an unfathomable amount of wealth.
Mark, I hate to do this, but I've got to take a break. Please stand by. Exonation Mark Hazelwood is our special guest, and we'll both be back on the other side of this quick break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. You're listening to us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed at classic1220.ca.
Sometimes you turn your back to the wind. There's a world outside the darkened door where blues won't haunt you anymore. With a brave heart, free lover's soul, come ride with me to the distant shore. We won't hesitate. Break down the garden.
Welcome back, everyone. Mark Hazelwood is our special guest this hour, and Mark, putting all this money and all this money and all this trust in this system. If you've got the banks putting their money in there, if you've got the stock exchange and the stock markets putting their money in this and their holdings in this, what happens, God forbid, if this computer goes down? Now, I understand that the ledgers are copied. I understand that, but
it's not just one computer; it's thousands.
Yeah, I understand that, but what happens if there is a virus that is successfully implanted in one of these computers? Would they also get this virus in those thousands of computers as well?
I don't think that's possible. They've been rolling this out for a couple years now. It's been running alongside the debt-based slave system that we've been in. And so they're gradually rolling it out, testing it all along the way. So I don't believe that can happen.
But having all your eggs in one basket, man, isn't that dangerous? Like, no matter how great this computer is.
Well, it's not one computer.
I understand that.
Decentralized.
I understand that. I understand that.
Okay.
But if this computer, if this network or this system or these ledgers are infected, and sure, it's easy for us to say today, yes, it's been rolled out slowly, it's being tested, but so have other systems over the years, and they've been infected, they've been taken down, they've been hacked. I don't feel comfortable with putting all the money into one electronic system just because we don't know for a fact that it can't be hacked. It can't be, be subjected to a virus. We don't know that. Maybe with today's technology, it can't. But what about technology 5, 6, 7 years down the road? We have ransomware now and all these other viruses. What safety does the investor, what safety does the company, what safety do the stockholders have in case there is this failure? And what happens to QSI at that point?
All right, the quantum financial system will not ever be hacked. It's totally decentralized, and they've safeguarded it against anything. Now, you can imagine that it could be, because of past systems that have, but it's not going to be. And if you've been around it and know who's behind it and what all's been put into it, I mean, IBM's been working on this for decades, setting up this system. They know that what they're doing, and they know that the old debt-based system is gone. They're just holding it up while they bring in the new system. This is a decentralized system is unhackable. Now you can imagine all you want, and you can put that out there all you want, but it's not going to be.
How do we know that for a fact?
Well, any skeptical person is never going to be satisfied. That's all I can say about it.
I don't think it's being skeptical. I think it's being realistic, because we know from
realistic or skeptical. I mean, you have to study it to find out what it is. Like I said, it is being run by these artificial intelligent computers that they look into the future to see what's going on.
But anybody will tell you that the future's uncertain. So how can these artificial intelligence computers know what's going on in the future? I think artificial intelligence is great, don't take me wrong, but I think it also has its place in society.
All right, well, you can interject that into the possibility if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was discussing where this money was coming from at the end of the last segment. Do you want to go there again?
Sure.
Okay, all right. These trusts that were set up by these ascended masters were for this time to create basically another heaven on earth here on earth and beyond. And these trusts are being released very shortly. In fact, one of the trusts, called White Spiritual Boy, it's been documented. The documents were found by one of our best researchers by the name of Rick Ragone, and he showed us that it has about 4 numbers in front and 40 zeros behind. But that's not the only account. And by the way, this account is backed by gold, and it was put into hundreds of banks around the world and taken by the Rothschilds, and then the White Hats took it back. But there are other ones that have 9 different numbers in front and 100 zeros behind them. I mean, there's so much money that is going to be entrusted with humanity, not just the first few people that get access to it that are largely humanitarians, but the humanitarians that they find and train. The world is going to change. The technology being released is absolutely incredible. Now, you haven't asked about some of the technology yet.
I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to affect society in the future. You know, technology.
Well, like I said,
you know, like you
right.
For example, you said to us that there's two places, ascended masters like Saint Germaine and Archangel Michael, who set up the first
that's
trust.
the trust that they set up long ago for this time.
How do we? Where did these trusts originate from? And how did we find it?
Okay, it's these ascended masters that created the trust. There was no trust before these ascended masters created them. So they actually created the first trust to hold this money they accumulated for what they knew in the future would be this time when there's going to be a huge change in the world from, the people who ran the slave system before to the new people that are going to raise their consciousness collectively into a 5D world. A 5D is, acting in oneness.
Mm-hmm. So where did we get this information from? You know, it sounds great. It sounds wonderful. But where did we get the information that Saint Germaine and Archangel Michael were actually part of all this?
Well, like I said, these accounts, the documentation of these accounts have been shown to be true. It's not just rumors. And of course, the turning over of all the corporations, arresting of those people, or at least their resignations to the public, shows where the other half of the money will come from. Largely these corporations have been stealing from us forever. I mean, we had the ability for one person to, back in the 60s, to support the entire household, a car, a house, and everything. And that production, that ability to work has been taken from us. By now, one person should be able to should be able to work 1 hour a week and support their family. But it's all been stolen from us. So we've gotten all that back. And then the trusts were set up long ago for this time also. Now, the only way you can really prove as far as the trust goes is to have documentation of some of the accounts. Mm-hmm. Well, we've secured that documentation. Like I said, there's a man by the name of Nick Ragoon who used to work as a trader and a manager in New York Stock Exchange. So he was kind of a black hat way back when, and then flipped over. He's doing a lot of the research for us and comes up with documentation. So you can see who signed these papers, where the accounts were, etc. on this paperwork. Now, whether you believe the paperwork or not, that's up to you. I mean, you can be as skeptical as you want to be.
Well, okay, but once again, going back to Archangel Michael, how do you know that he had anything to do with it? Like, if we're talking about the Archangel Michael that I think you're talking about, where's the proof that he's actually involved? Or does this have to be taken on trust and faith?
Well, I guess some of it has to be taken on trust and faith. I mean, you have to listen to this not just with your intellect, but with your heart. And your heart is the only organ in your body, other than your brain, that contains brain tissue. So you can be skeptical and listen with your intellect only, or look into your heart and see what it tells you.
So how is this money going to be distributed to the masses?
Well, initially, I don't really have the answer to that question. I know that a lot of it is going to be given to the people who get into these ICOs. And these ICOs are very easy to get into. Collectively, we have to reach the top tier. In other words, depending on how much money we put into these ICOs, they give out different bonuses. If we reach the top tier, some of these top tiers are incredible, the amount of bonuses that we get. And the minimum amount you can put into these ICOs is like $1.50. And each person that puts any money in this gets the bonuses. Some of these bonuses are worth $500 million.
And how is this QSI looked upon by the different government agencies?
Well, you can call them up and find out.
Well, I'm asking,
there have been quite a few people who have accused us of this and that and the other. But when you got Q on your side, when you have IBM creating the blockchain, these agencies that you're contacting are fully aware that they're going to go nowhere in their investigation because it's the White Hats that are controlling the entire thing.
All right, stand by, Mark. We have to take our middle of the show break. Exonation, our guest this hour is Mark Hazelwood, and Mark and I will be back on the other side of this break to discuss this further. If you'd like to send me an email, exxon@classic1220.ca, and as you know, we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, and, 5 days a week. I don't know what else I can say, except stand by. We will be back. Yes. Oh, that's right. Craig would like me to remind all of you that if you'd like to find out or listen to any of the past episodes we have, just go to www.xzbn.net, and we'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Every now and then, I think you might like to hear something from us. Nice and easy. But there's just one thing, you see, we never, ever do nothing nice and easy. We always do it nice and rough. But we're gonna take the beginning of this song and do it easy. But then we're gonna do the finish rough. It's the way we do Proud Mary. Rolling, rolling.
Explanation Mark Hazelwood is our special guest. We're talking about Quantum Stellar Initiative. And Mark, how does one get involved? Like John Q. Public on the street, they've got a couple of bucks that they'd like to invest, and, times being as hard as they are with a lot of people, who would they contact to place their investment?
All right. Well, if they downloaded the Telegram app, which is a social media app, and they find Quantum Stellar Initiative, and make sure it's got around 47,000 people in it, because there's a lot of people that are opposed to this and want to stop it, and they've created their own Quantum Stellar Initiative, and they would have a lot less people in it. So make sure you're joining the right Quantum Stellar Initiative. And then when you get on there, you're going to be asked to study 3 different lessons, let's say.
Okay.
Beginners, a middle, and then I guess the higher one. And those lessons really are about as much as a junior high school class. And you'll be asked to take 3 quizzes and get 80% or more on those quizzes. And, if you don't get 80%, I didn't pass all of them the first time I did, you can take them directly again or study a little bit more and take them directly again. Once you've taken the 3 quizzes, then you contact some of the admin that are listed. If any of the admin or anybody contacts you, it's a scammer. Do not respond to them. Please do not respond to anyone who private messages you. Only private message the list of admin yourself. All right, so you're on there. You've passed the test, and you join the chat site. Quantum Stellar Initiative is one group. The global chat site is another one. You have to participate in the chat site to be a qualified participant. That means, you might comment on someone else's comment, something like that. And you don't have to do that very much, but enough to, get a feel for who you are. And then you can start to be a part of the ICOs. And like I said, you don't need very much money at all. You could put in as little as $1.50 in any one of these ICOs. And if you figure this, some of these ICOs are just so interesting that they're going to reach the top tier, and these whales will jump in at the end and make sure of that, then you get the bonuses as much as anyone else. Now, the people that put more money in, they will get more digital assets, and all of these assets will have a passive income eventually within a year or two associated with them. So that's why the whales are putting the greater money in. They're not getting any more bonuses than anyone else is. And so that's how you get involved. It's really that simple. And it's just waiting for anyone out there to jump on in.
So
now, let me tell you about, if you want, let me tell you about some of the interesting technologies that have been released.
Good idea.
All right. Time travel, dimensional travel, anti-gravity shoes, skills is one. There's one called Skills. This gives you the ability to download into your brain any skill that you've ever wanted without ever having to spend years studying, like become instantly a musical genius, or want to learn any language, or without studying. Or if you want to be a surfer, and just go buy a board and all of a sudden you have the skills for it. Or be impervious to heat or cold, or adapt to high altitudes or deep water, or has super lightning fast reflexes like a racer or a fighter, or endurance like an ultra marathoner, extreme balancing, hyper concentration like a Zen master. This is just scratching the surface of this one ICO, this one technology that has been developed. They developed fish through DNA manipulation that will eat pollution in the oceans and deposit electricity at central locations, kind of like a beehive, for humans to use. They've developed a little wrist device that will open up a porthole and travel anywhere in the universe instantly. There's been a replicator developed, a teleporter. There's one technology that will allow you to create your own personal environment. In other words, if you live in a cold environment, you can have a temperate or even a tropical environment wherever you live. There's another technology that will allow you to grow trees in the desert endlessly, or create aqua springs wherever you're at. But those are just interesting technologies, part of the 6,000, and this is just they haven't even started to release these technologies that have been developed. The most interesting ones, as far as I'm concerned, are the 15 galactic med beds. And I call them galactic because they've been created by the Galactus. These are these off-world beings, and they're the best in the universe. And of course, everyone, when they think of med bed, they think of age regression. Sure, they got age regression. That's one of the 15. And you can go down as low as 15 years old. That's the lowest that'll allow. But also, they have something called astral, which allows you to talk to relatives in the astral, deceased relatives. Now, if you know anything about the Tartarian civilization, they had this technology a couple hundred years ago, so that's not new. All right, and then the Vital Beat would be another one of the 15. I'm not going to name off all of them, but this one repairs anything wrong with your heart. And then there's another one called SCIASTE that repairs your bone and teeth perfectly. Now, another one is called LYUBOVE. A lot of these are Russian words because the developers, or what we call devs, are Russian. And this repairs all your reproductive health. Now, this one's an interesting one. It's called Krasota, and it means beauty. In other words, you can change your body any way you see fit. If you want to be a little taller, if you want to have different looking eyes or whatever, it'll show you what that'll look like in 3D in front of you first before you decide on it. If you're a woman, you might want to have smaller or larger breasts within reason.
Right.
If you're a man, you might want to have a larger manhood, but
Sure.
that's within reason. Keep in mind that most women are only 5 inches deep. There's another med bed by the. I mean, this sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But it's absolutely true. All right, neural balance. This will clean up your subconscious. I mean, there's a lot of trauma that people live with.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Causing them to act in a certain way. Well, neural balance doesn't wipe out the memories. It just turns them positive. So it'll change you as an individual by using that med bed. Now, this one is probably going to be the one that's most hard to accept. But actually, there's another research by the name of Jason Q who found this one, and it's already been ICO'd. But all these med beds have already been ICO'd on the Quantum Stellar Initiative. But this one allows you, let me get back to it, 1985 this was invented. This one allows you to, after you contact your relative and you've checked their, let's just say, soul contracts and desires, you can bring them back. And it takes about a month. And of course, they'll come back looking exactly the way they left, so you would have to tell them that they could go into the youthful pod and age regress if they wanted
Right.
to. All right, so those are just a little bit of the med beds. Now, what's interesting is they're going to bring the med beds out first. In fact, all the people that were involved in the ICOs, they'll be allowed, because we reached the top tier, they'll be allowed to use about 3 or 4 of these med beds ahead of the rest of the people, which will be a couple of years down the line. I mean, I suppose they have their perfect idea about how they're going to advertise these things, but nobody is going to be able to use these things and pay money for it. If you happen to be one of the lucky ones who have this, you can't charge for it, because when they bring out the med beds in mass, nobody is going to be charged for it at all, because it's part of the transfer of wealth, the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. But some of these ICOs give you bonuses that are completely insane.
It sounds a little bit like Amway. That's the easiest way that I can try to understand it. You know,
what would you call Amway?
I'd call it a pyramid scheme.
There's no pyramid involved here, though.
Okay, so the person on
there's no pyramid.
So
Okay.
you, all right. So you put your money in. Does it go under anybody? For example, who is your uplink, or who's above you in this, or are you all on the same level?
There's absolutely no uplink.
Wow.
At all. This goes to help bring this technology out. In other words, most of these technologies are very old and been repressed, so they need to be retooled for the masses. So that's basically where the money is going.
So this is seed money.
It's retooling.
It's
these
seed
technologies.
money. It's seed money.
Yeah, it's seed money for something that's already been around for a long time.
Okay,
now,
let me
mention something else. These are, I gave you about 10 different
med beds
ICOs that are very interesting or very unbelievable, and however way you want to look at it.
Right.
But let me give you a list of companies that have been ICO'd that are just common companies that people have put their money in.
Okay, listen. Why don't we do this? I've got to take my final break, and this way here I won't interrupt you, okay? Exonation Mark Hazelwood is our guest, and we're talking about Quantum Stellar Initiative. Does it sound too good to be true? Let's find out on the other side of this break. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and our good friend Mark Hazelwood and I will return on the other side as the X Zone continues from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. So whatever you do, don't go away, because you know what? Mark and I will be right back.
It's the ride on the riverboat queen.
Know that
Big wheel keep on turning. Ooh, the proud Mary keep on burning. And we're rolling, rolling, yeah. Rolling on the river. Say we're rolling, rolling, rolling on the river.
Mark Hazelwood is with us this hour, Exonation. We're talking about Quantum Stellar Initiative. And Mark, before we went to the break, you were just going to read us off some of the companies that are involved with QSI to show us.
Just normal companies that they've ICO'd onto the blockchain that have been taken, they were taken over by the white hats. And many of them will continue on. And some of them will be retooled to do something different. But here's a small list of them. Bayer, Siemens, IBM Quantum, Halliburton, BlackRock, DocuSign, Tesla, Nokia, HSBC, Boeing, Airbus, Goldman, Kodak, Lloyds, Amco, Ford, Gray Slate, JP Morgan Chase, PayPal, Sony Corporation, Samsung, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Honeywell, Toyota, Wirex, Pinco, Broadcom, Raytheon, Intel Corporation, FedEx, ITSE, Verizon, Ing, Wisdom Tree, Bosch, Zero Avia, Hitachi, NXT. Now, what I'd like to do, those are the normal ones that come through week after week after week. At first, I was just going over the ones that are very exciting. They're the new technologies that most people would get excited about. But there's a few more of those that are even, some of them are more interesting.
Really?
Yes. Just last week, one of the top tiers was reached in what is called microfusion. So they gave us a date for this one that is far out. Okay, most of them are within 1 or 2 years. We'll be able to access the wealth from it. But this device is called microfusion, and we qualified for 2 microfusion devices. One is a 50 megawatt daily one that you can run your house on, and probably 50 other houses. And then we also got the 5,000 megawatt one. That's 5,000 megawatts monthly. That can probably run 500 to 10,000 houses.
Wow.
Each one of us will get one of those. Now there's another ICO that was a small anti-gravity backpack. It comes with lessons, so you'll learn how to levitate or fly with it, similar to a superhero, right? And it protects you. It puts a gravity shield around you, so if you happen to get in some sort of accident, you would only feel like 5% of it. Now, there's another ICO, I forget the name of this one, but it's basically just invisible nanoparticles that can protect your house or your city from any and all weather conditions and earthquakes. Now, here's a wild one. Dark matter. They've learned how to, by the way, a lot of this technology was developed down in Antarctica in these huge caverns that are all about 72 degrees. Anyway, this one, you use dark matter, and in the process of using this dark matter, you can design a planet, and it'll suck in all the matter around it to create a planet for you. It'll take about 4 years. This one is probably Well, I'm going to skip that one. I'll get back to it.
Okay.
This last one is actually funny. They've learned that dragons and unicorns were real, and they've gotten a hold of their DNA, and you can design your own pet dragon or unicorn. You can design a tiny, and by the way, the dragons do blow out fire. They don't breathe it in. But you can design your own one, your own dragon as a pet, a lifelong pet. And they will be connected to you like you could probably read each other's minds. But you could design one that's big as a parrot to sit on your shoulder, or as large as one that you could ride on. But, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that unless you had one of the gravity packs on your back. All right. Now getting back to, I think, one of the most interesting ones, and people are going to scream about this one. They're going to say transhumanism, etc. Except transhumanism was an idea that was put out by the dark hats to control people, to basically, do them, make sure that they do their own bidding, and that's that. But this actually is a micro implant that gives you superpowers, basically, like you see people in the movies. Mm-hmm. You can run as fast as a cheetah, pick up the side of a car, dodge a bullet, allows you to see like on a microscopic level, like the movie Lucy. And you get a heads-up display, like if you're in a foreign country or city, it'll show you exactly where you need to go. You can actually speak whatever language that is around you and understand it and read it. And then, of course, if you can dodge a bullet, it actually puts you in a state of slow motion. Now, no one else recognizes the state, only you. So you can, like the Flash, get out of the way instantly. Anyway, I'm just scratching the surface of these abilities that this micro QSI implant.
But let me ask you a couple of questions here because we're running out of time very fast here.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen any of these things that actually work?
No, I have not. Absolutely not.
Okay. Is it fair to say that some law enforcement agencies are investigating QSI and the claims that they're making?
Absolutely. Okay. They may have already, and then been found out by the white hats that have, that are in charge of all this, that there's nothing there to investigate. I mean, you don't make these claims and then have $500,000 worth of money going through from 3,000 or 4,000 people unless you already being investigated.
Okay, how about the SEC? What is their finding on QSI?
I have no idea.
Do you have to pay taxes on any revenue that you earn on QSI?
QSI is not just the center of disclosure and the center for revealing these new technologies and the center for all this greatest transfer of wealth in history. It's the center for information.
Okay.
And basically, the IRS is defunct.
But Mark, do you really, Mark,
going out the window.
This, it sounds impossible. It sounds improbable to make the claims that.
That's exactly how you should react when listening to this.
Well, why wouldn't I?
No, there's no reason why not. I'm telling you, you're having the perfect reaction to all of this.
So, but my question to you is, how do you know that you're not being suckered into something?
All right. Each person has to make their own individual evaluation.
I agree.
Each of the 3,000 or 4,000 people that have put money into this have looked at the documentation that is constantly being brought up.
But how do you
verify all the claims? Go ahead.
How do you know the documentation isn't a scam? How do you know that what you're saying here about the different med beds? A big flag went up when you started mentioning the connection with Russia.
Well, yeah,
something doesn't
I mean,
something doesn't sit right here. Mind you, Mark, I'll be honest with you, I haven't read all the material. I haven't.
Well,
So I may be
okay.
missing a whole bunch of things here. But yeah.
You'd have to go to QSI and start reading endlessly to find all this out. I mean, the material, it just goes on and on and on. What I sent you was just a drop in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make any evaluations off of what I sent you.
Yet what you sent me has raised a lot of red flags.
Well, of course, they should. From a normal thinking individual that hasn't been exposed to any of this yet, it should.
You're talking about archangels, you're talking about extraterrestrials, you're talking about miracles being done, cloning, and everything else that we've talked about in the past.
Hold on. You mentioned cloning. I didn't mention cloning. Where did you come that? Where did you get that
What
from?
did you say about the DNA? The manipulation of DNA?
Right, manipulation of DNA, but I didn't mention the cloning. That is part of what's going on here. That was an ICO. I'm just curious where you came up with it. It's just because I mentioned DNA, you mentioned cloning?
Yeah.
KLONE was an ICO that was put out.
Oh, I see. All right, that was my mistake, though. But I find it... So did this entire project start in Russia?
I wouldn't believe so.
So,
I mean, like I said, most of the technologies were developed down in Antarctica many years ago, and it's just being retooled for the public at large.
So this goes back to the theory or the stories of Hitler having a base down in the Antarctica.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got a lot of conspiracies flowing in and out of here. We've got extraterrestrials. We've got archangels. We have saints. Man, there's a bit of everything in here.
Well, we had an ICO about the Hollow Earth that we're gonna be able to go visit it. We had an ICO about a civilization that's living underneath the sea that we're in contact with. We're going to be.
Now, have you been in contact, or is this what you've been told that the ICOs?
This is all what I've been told, along with a few thousand other people.
Wow.
That have been listening very carefully to what's been going on.
And they believe it.
Well, yeah, they believe it because of. All the details that have been shown as far as the documentation of the quantum stellar financial system, because that's where this started from. It started from the IBM who created this new system. They created it for the dark hats initially. The white hats took it over and started changing it completely.
Hey, Mark, I hate to do this, but we've run out of time for tonight. Thanks so much for sharing this information.
Fine.
And we will be looking into it, and thanks again for sharing, and have a great night, sir. All right, Exo Nation, there we go. Exo Nation, what do you think? Send me an email. Are you a skeptic or are you a believer? I'll tell you right now, I think he's out to lunch. I really do. Man alive, he was like, he actually believes this. Can you believe that Archangel Michael was part of this, and there's extraterrestrials in part of this? They can actually build you, or you can get your own wormhole. You can, oh my good God. All right, honey, get another 6-pack because this one's 3 cans short. I'll be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Tell me, X Zone Nation, are you a believer or are you a skeptic? Do me a favor, keep your money in your wallet. Just sounds like another elaborate scam to me. We'll be back, don't go away.